Gordon, for accepting this interview for the Coast to Coast series, and I'm inviting you here today to speak about the Canadian Dermatology Foundation, and you can explain it to our newbies, myself included, as to what the CDF is all about and how people can be involved in it.
Well, thank you, Catherine, for the opportunity to speak about the Canadian Dermatology Foundation as the president. As the organization has been in existence for over 50 years now, and it was initially started by a very small group of dermatologists who felt there was a definite need in Canada for supporting Canadian dermatology research. And it's had very modest beginnings, and it went on for a number of years, and then it's now grown to an organization which is so far funded over $10 million in research to Canadian dermatologists primarily. We are the largest organization that supports Canadian dermatology research. And so we'd like to continue that tradition, and we've done a lot of our work initially from just individual practitioners offering donations. We've also had increased support from our corporate industry sponsors and other organizations as well, such as the Eczema Society of Canada and other organizations. We've had endowments from the World Congress of Dermatology, which is a substantial endowment which has helped us to fund research, and every year we're doing at least $500,000 in research. We have currently 10 people who are doing grants at this time on a wide variety of topics, and just yesterday during the Canadian Society of Investigative Dermatology, we had an opportunity to have many of the members who had supported their initial research present some of their data, and it was a very entertaining meeting. We've had a very good attendance at that as well. And our objectives are also to enhance our ability to increase our endowments so we can increase more funding. Our biggest challenge is that we always get more grants for application than we have funding to support, and so we go through a very rigorous review process similar to the Canadian Institute for Health Research. And in fact, we've now partnered with the CIHR as well, and so they're co-sponsoring some of our grants as well. And so we're looking at ways to expand our ability to provide more research support. The other thing that we did last couple of years was we started a team competition where we have a team grant where a multi-center group is also involved in doing a prolonged longitudinal research, and we have a 5-year granting agency set up which has invested approximately $1 million for this group. Looking at, in this case, atopic dermatitis. So there are several ways that one can be involved with this. There's at the individual contribution issues. We've had, over the 50 years, we've had 5 endowments from estate contributions. And then we also have our industry partners that are involved with this as well. And now we're getting into matching grants with other organizations. So, but what's been very promising is that a lot of these ideas are started from small superficial observations, and this is what we were encouraging the young dermatologists and residents to say, that a lot of the people who were presenting on the podium yesterday were saying that all their research career started from an observation that they saw while they were in clinical practice that they thought was a rather curious thing, and then it developed into a full research career for many. And many have also acknowledged that their career was springboarded by the support of the CDF, and that it was the CDF that gave them their first opportunity to test out their ideas, and many went on to greater things as a result of that. So it's homegrown, it's all from Canada, and it's all started from grassroots contributions from individual members from whichever they could do. And as a result, we have a very robust research community across the country, and a lot of collaboration going on as well. So.
And what time of the year is grant submission usually?
The grant submission process usually starts in the mid to late fall. And then the competition closes usually around the end of February, early March. Then there's the adjudication board, and the decision is made just before this meeting. And so this afternoon at our annual general meeting, we'll be announcing this year's grant recipients. And so that makes our latest cadre of current researchers now.
So if somebody's new to research, how do you suggest they go about applying for a grant?
There is, on the Canadian Dermatology Foundation website, there is the application process and how it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar to what is done with the other research granting organizations such as the CIHR and also and the National Institutes of Health. Those are the larger groups, but the process is pretty similar. I would suggest for those who are considering a career or an opportunity, and this is mainly information that's more to our young residents and fellows, is that they find out who it is who's already gone before them and talk to them about how it's done and what pros and cons and tips that they could do in terms of improving the grant writing process.
Right.
2 years ago we had a workshop at the 2019 Calgary CDA conference on grant writing.
Right.
And this is always a very popular one for many to get into, just to see how it's done.
Right.
There is a skill to it and a bit of a talent, but there
Yes.
are many people who will be more than willing to provide suggestions on improving the grant writing process.
Okay, that's very helpful. Well, I think that's a great timeline and certainly a worthy adventure on your part and very helpful to Canadian dermatology moving ahead and in the end helping our patients move forward with better treatments.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Catherine. I think that ultimately a lot of these projects have borne fruit in improving patient care from a number of our institutions over the years, and so I think the future is bright, and so I think that the more we encourage it, the more productivity we'll have.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's good.